Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, Kamala Harris makes her case and makes history. Vice President Harris takes the stage.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
Catapulted from running mate to top of the ticket, making her case to be Commander-in-Chief.
Everyone has a right to safety, to dignity, and to justice.
Harris's family supports her in Chicago as she hones in on Donald Trump, calling him an unserious man, and vows to take the country forward. Trump responds on Fox and Truth Social, campaigns by the border. This morning, our team reports on the latest in the race for the White House. 74 days until the final votes.
Extreme heat, all-time record-breaking temperatures gripping the South. With millions on alert, Ginger has the forecast.
First on GMA, the former pilot accused of trying to crash a passenger jet with 84 people on board. Why he says he took psychedelic mushrooms 2 days before the flight.
It's 30 seconds of my life I wish I could change, and I can't.
This morning, why he's speaking out as he awaits trial.
Overnight, a volcano erupts in Iceland for the 6th time since December. What do we know this morning?
What else can Wegovy do? The new study on the popular weight loss drug when it comes to risk of a heart attack and stroke, and how this could lead to access to the drug for more people.
With mortgage rates dropping, the welcome relief for homebuyers, what it means if you already own.
And we're flipping into Friday. And taking you into the weekend. With so many heading back to school, it's time to...
Show me the money.
Helping students find unclaimed cash on College Move-In Day. Plus, fresh off a big night in Chicago at the DNC, Kerry Washington is live in Times Square.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
So we'll get a first-hand report from Kerry Washington later. What a night at the Democratic National Convention. Good morning, America. Hope you're doing well this morning.
And as you said, George, history made at the Democratic Convention. Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the first black woman and the first Asian American to accept the nomination of a major party.
Take a look at this photo. That is Harris's great niece, Amara, watching her auntie take the stage, bearing witness to this history-making moment.
What an image that is. Harris pointed to the future, saying America can chart a new way forward. She called Donald Trump an unserious man posing a serious threat to America and the world, capping off a convention week the Democrats could not have imagined just a few weeks ago. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce starts us off from the convention floor. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, Kamala Harris told the crowd here that she is no stranger to unlikely journeys. And last night, she shared hers with the nation, reintroducing herself to voters, taking shots at Donald Trump, making her case, and yes, making history too.
Overnight, Kamala Harris stepping onto the convention stage and into history.
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
The first black woman and first Asian American to accept the nomination of a major party, sharing her American story. The daughter of immigrants, her worldview shaped by the strength of her mother.
She taught us to never complain about injustice, but do something about it. Do something about it. That was my mother. And she taught us, and she also taught us, and never do anything half-assed. And that is a direct quote.
Harris acknowledging her unusual path to the top of the ticket.
The path that led me here in recent weeks was no doubt unexpected. But I'm no stranger to unlikely journeys.
With her family watching proudly on, Harris speaking to the urgency of the moment.
Our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past a chance to chart a new way forward. Not as members of any one party or faction, but as Americans. And let me say, I know there are people of various political views watching tonight, and I want you to know, I promise to be a president for all Americans.
Harris arguing Donald Trump presents a danger to democracy.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails.
The former prosecutor point by point laying out her case against Trump, saying he would put wealthy Americans ahead of the middle class and continue to endanger reproductive freedoms.
Simply put, they are out of their minds. One must ask, why exactly is it that they don't trust women? Well, we trust women. We trust women.
And on foreign policy, as the first female commander-in-chief, Harris vowing to stand up to dictators, not idolize them.
I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump. As president, I will never waver in defense of America's security and ideals, because in the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand and I know where the United States belongs.
And on the Israel-Hamas war, vowing to ensure Israel's right to defend itself while also protecting Palestinians.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
With 74 days to go, Harris with a call to action.
It is now our turn to do what generations before us have done, guided by optimism and faith, to fight for this country we love, to fight for the ideals we cherish, and to uphold the awesome responsibility that comes with the greatest privilege on earth. The privilege and pride of being an American.
Vowing to take the country forward.
We know what a second Trump term would look like, but America, we are not going back. We are not going back.
As the balloons fell, Harris closing out the convention with her family and running mate by her side.
Now, Harris did not mention her race or gender here last night or tackle the history of this moment head on, but it certainly was not lost on this crowd. Women, especially black women in their suffragette white, overcome by emotion. This was a convention like we have never seen before, from the many celebrity appearances to those barn burner speeches by political heavyweights. And now Kamala Harris and her team have to carry this momentum forward. In a rare move, she's actually not hitting the campaign trail immediately today, but make no mistake, this is going to be now a all-out sprint to the finish. George, 74 days to go.
Till the final votes. Okay, Mary, thanks very much. Just bringing in Rachel Scott, who's tracking the Trump campaign. Donald Trump went to two of his favorite venues last night to respond in real time, Truth Social and Fox News.
Yes, George. Donald Trump said he was going to be watching this speech in real time, and he was. And he was clearly frustrated by what he heard. He posted on his social media app, Truth Social, more than 40 times during the Democratic National Convention, insisting that his rival, Vice President Kamala Harris, is all talk and no action. And a series of rambling posts. At one point, the former president posting in all capital letters, "Is she talking about me?" And of course she was. And as Vice President Kamala Harris went after Donald Trump in a range of issues, including January 6th, reproductive rights, national security, the bipartisan border bill that he tanked, he appeared to grow only more and more frustrated. And he attempted to defend himself, saying that he wants to protect access to IVF and birth control. He went on to defend himself, insisting that the bipartisan border security deal that his own party negotiated, that he called on them to reject, was weak and ineffective. Look, Donald Trump's advisors have been pushing him to focus on the policy, to turn away from the insults and the attacks. The former president has been on a blitz throughout the battleground states during the Democratic National Convention. And in just a few hours, he is set to appear with independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in Arizona. Sources tell us that Kennedy is expected to drop out of this race. He has been known for pushing a range of conspiracy theories during his short bid for the White House. It's unclear how much of an impact that is going to have on this election, George. With just 74 days to go, it is a dead heat.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much. It's been our chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl. And Jonathan, as I look at who this speech was aimed at last night, I think of a lot of M words: moderates, middle class, middle America.
Absolutely, and a direct response to the way Donald Trump has tried to define her. You know, they talk about her, the Republicans, the Trump Republicans, as a San Francisco liberal, as a radical. They call her Comrade Kamala. But she gave a speech, George, that if you take out that section on abortion rights, much of this speech could have been delivered at a Republican convention before Trump. She talked tough on Iran. She promised that as commander-in-chief, America would have the most lethal and strongest fighting force in the world. She talked tough on Russia, on China. She talked about border security. She really gave a speech that was designed to go at independents, moderates, disaffected Republicans, the vast majority of undecided voters in the country. A very interesting move and quite a contrast from the way she ran for president the first time when she tried to get the nomination 4 years ago. This is a Kamala Harris that sounded a little bit more like Maggie Thatcher or Ronald Reagan, especially on national security, than like Bernie Sanders.
Well, and it's interesting you mentioned that there's more talk about Ronald Reagan at the Democratic convention than the Republican convention, and the Democrats really making a play to claim patriotism on their side.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opening there. Donald Trump has used words like American carnage to talk about America, has portrayed a more isolationist, protectionist view that is at odds with what Ronald Reagan was all about. So this was Kamala Harris. I mean, she didn't say the words city on a hill like Ronald Reagan did, but full embrace of patriotism, the American flags waving here, the chants of USA, USA, USA. This is a party under Kamala Harris that is saying that appealing to patriotism. And you also heard that message, by the way, George, from Republican speakers at this convention every single night, saying voting for Kamala Harris is not about being a Republican or a Democrat, it's about being a patriot.
It will take some time to see what impact the convention has had on the polls, but we already know that Kamala Harris, since she's gotten into this race, her favorability numbers have climbed.
Yeah, look, this is going to be, I mean, this is likely to be a very close race. But if you look at what has happened, her favorability, she was as unpopular as Joe Biden was a month ago. Her favorability in the polls has steadily gone up over the past 4 weeks, even before this convention started.
Okay, John Karl, thanks very much. Gio?
All right, George, we're going to turn now to the record heat with millions on alert for record-breaking temperatures. You know Ginger is tracking it all. Good morning, Ginger. It is hot out there.
It's not just that it's so hot. It's Texas. It's always hot, right? But we have reliable records going back more than 115 years. We've been writing it down for a long time, and never since we've been writing it down in the month of August has it been this hot in Del Rio or San Angelo or Amarillo. All of them had hottest August temperatures on record. We do have some more daily records possible today. You'll see some of those excessive heat warnings that go from southern Oklahoma along the river valley there. Wichita Falls could feel as hot as 114 degrees. So be extra careful with any of that extra time spent outside. Record heat, though, slides east. And Rebecca, they will get a little break in places like Abilene, but Atlanta by next week starts to feel those records.
All over again, Ginger. Thank you. We turn now to some improving news for home buyers. Mortgage rates are dropping and existing home sales are on the rebound. Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with more. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hey, good morning, Rebecca. This really is welcome relief for home buyers. Mortgage rates are now at their lowest level since May of last year. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage now 6.46%. If you are trying to buy a home for the average price in the U.S. of around $400,000, that means your monthly payment is $2,500. That's $200 cheaper than it would have been at this time last year, but still $860 more expensive than 3 years ago when we saw those rates near an all-time low. And that is preventing a lot of homeowners who locked in low monthly payments from moving, but we are seeing signs that buyers who've been delaying the house hunt are getting off the sidelines. Home sales increased in July after 4 straight months of declines, and mortgage rates are expected to dip even lower this year as the Federal Reserve starts to cut borrowing costs, likely as soon as next month. We could get some clues about just how much the Fed will cut rates when the Fed chief delivers a major speech later this morning. Rebecca.
So many eyes on that speech, Elizabeth, and of course, so many homeowners, home buyers, would-be buyers, renters. Everyone is watching all of this because they've been on the sidelines for so long. Hopefully this brings some new homes to market and maybe some refinancings as well to make things a little less expensive. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yes, we can hope. George?
Okay, we're going to turn now to a new study on the weight loss drug Wegovy. Researchers now say it may significantly slash risk of heart attack and stroke. Eva Pilgrim here with the details. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, George. These popular weight loss drugs are not just helping people drop pounds. A new study adding to the growing data showing these medications can lower a person's risk of heart-related issues substantially. The study published in the New England Journal of Medicine looked at over 17,000 people with pre-existing heart disease. It found that long-term use of Wegovy, known generically as semaglutide, reduced the risk of heart attack and stroke by 44%. It also reduced the risk of death from any cause in a big way. And on top of that, researchers found people on the medication lost weight and had better blood pressure. Now, Wegovy is already FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart disease for those who are obese and overweight. It's also approved for weight loss for that same group of people. These studies critical because this growing data could help clear the way for more people to have access and coverage for this medication, Gio.
Such important headlines right there, Eva. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to go to the Little League World Series now. It's down to the final 4 teams, and our major leaguer, Trevor Ault, is here to break it all down. Hey, Trevor.
So 4 teams usually means semifinals, but these are all championship games left. You got the U.S. championship game, the international championship game, after a couple of really exciting games happening yesterday. So on the U.S. side, we had Florida against Nevada, 2 really strong teams. This is in the 3rd inning, really solid contact from Florida. This is going to get robbed at the wall by Nevada. Great catch there, though. Florida, though, they're hitting with too much. They win 6-3, so they're going to face a powerful Texas team for the U.S. title. On the international side, Venezuela advances to their first championship game since 2000. They had a nail-biter win 3-2 over Japan. But the moment that I think a lot of people are going to want to see afterwards, the sportsmanship, the Venezuelan team consoling one of the Japanese players. We see this so many times after all of these games. So Venezuela is going to play Chinese Taipei for the international title. Got a doubleheader tomorrow, both championship games. Then the 2 winners go head-to-head for the World Series championship on Sunday. You can watch all of it on ABC.
And you were so excited about it. I heard you backstage. You couldn't stop talking
Chatting
about
away, nonstop. Yeah.
All right, always set such a good example.
They really do. They can teach the adults.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Thanks, Trevor.